Hi, welcome to Access to the Arts. I'm your guest host, Allison Zeidel. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be talking with Richmond Community Orchestra about their Strings Initiative and also Richmond Civic Theater about their upcoming Stage 1 production. But first, we're joined with Monica Koschlein, and we're going to talk about Richmond Symphony Orchestra. Mouthful. Richmond Symphony Orchestra. And we've had a really fabulous event that we just rolled off of that wasn't Richmond Symphony Orchestra. So we're actually going to start with that one because we want to tie these two together, and there's a great way to tie them together. So tell us a little bit about Palette to Palette.
Well, sure. Palette to Palette was in its first year this earlier in February. And it was a fundraiser that benefited Richmond Art Museum and IU East. It was a really unique collaboration and they came out of the gate strong, and people loved the event.
That's what I hear.
They were turning people away at the end, which is just unheard of the first time you're holding a fundraiser.
Neat. And because this is Access to the Arts, one of the great things that I saw when I was helping this set up for the event was these beautiful, beautiful paintings on the way in. So Joe Swanson and all kinds of wonderful artists, Carvin, and everybody was there. So tell us it was almost a street art type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that piece.
So when you walked in, it was very much like being on the street. And I think that's what they wanted to portray, art that you would see on the street. And a lot of it was, it felt very mural-like. But there was opportunity to step in. It was like a three-dimensional art in some circumstances. And in particular, one artist was painting while the event was going on.
Oh, how neat.
And so it felt as if you were truly on the street. And then an hour into the event, then the inside opened, and that's where you were able to get to your table. But the whole event was very social. There was not a very long program. It was all about just enjoying a social experience, feeling as if you were on the street and then you were inside the building.
That's so neat. Ginger does such a good job of that, of making, we have so many nonprofits in Richmond, and we have, in Wayne County actually, total. We have so many nonprofits, but the nonprofit world, and especially with Ginger kind of at the helm, has made it so that this is great entertainment for people. You don't have to say, I have to go to another one of Ginger's events. You're like, yay, get to go to another one of Ginger's events. So
and how she keeps them all unique.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, when you got inside, there were aerialists.
Oh, how
so
cool.
she had, people dancing, and obviously the girls from Good Bones joined the fun as well.
That's so neat. So, Ginger Gray's an artist in herself, so she should be a whole show.
She should be a whole
how
show.
her
We'll
brain
get her
works.
here
It's amazing. It's amazing. But let's transition to another Ginger Gray production, which is an event that is near and dear to your heart. So tell us about the upcoming Richmond Symphony Orchestra event.
Sure. So our event will be on April the 28th, and it will be called Symphony Night Fever. I don't think it'll be any surprise to anyone that we're highlighting the 70s.
Right.
But we really want to clearly help people understand it's not just a disco event. It covers the whole range of the 70s. Different than Palette to Palette, that was very casual. Our event is casual as well, but many of our attendees will dress in period dress, whether that means they'll dress like a character from a TV show or they'll actually dress in disco garb.
Yeah.
We'll see how that all plays out. I'm always amazed at how many people really get
people
excited about dressing up.
They get so into it.
And so we've done the 40s, we've done the 50s, we've done the 60s, now we're doing the 70s, and I'm quite certain we'll do one more decade at least in the 80s next year. But so Symphony Night Fever, I can't give away all the surprises. They're just as, you want people to come and not know exactly what they're going to expect.
Right.
But we will have our RSO singers available on site, and they'll be performing a medley of the best hits of the 1970s.
Oh, good. Okay.
Our symphony will perform. We're doing movies of the 70s. We're doing TV shows of the 70s.
Oh, nice.
We have a Saturday night Fever medley, and we'll end with the YMCA, and we might have some guest vocalists amongst us that will join us. We're pretty excited.
That's awesome.
We'll have dinner. Chef Gallo will be serving Italian. We really want it to feel as if it's like a Godfather-esque type of feel in New York, set in New York. Nice. And end with Studio 54, kind of a night fever dance scene.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're in discussions of how to make that look exactly like it did in the John Travolta movie.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it look as similar to that as we can.
I'm sure you'll pull it off. I'm sure you'll pull it off. I have an invitation here.
You do.
But I'm not allowed to show the whole thing.
It'll be going to print very quick, very
A
soon.
little bit of
Yes.
it, which is super exciting. I think part of the fun of your events from Richmond Symphony Orchestra are that the invitations are always so creative and so different, and every time it's like opening a Christmas present. I love getting them. I'm obsessed with invitations, so you do really well with that. But remind me what this event supports, because Richmond Symphony Orchestra does so much in the community, and a lot with children especially too. A lot of people think that maybe it's just the several concerts you have throughout the year, but that's not even half of it.
Not even a portion of what we do. So we really have three main initiatives that we focus on, and the most obvious one is our concert series. We'll have 6 concerts a season for people to enjoy. But in addition to that, we will have 4 children's concerts that we offer for free, 2 youth competitions that are free. We have free intermission for students under the age of 18 to all of our concerts. So all of that is our way of saying that educating this community is important, but also giving back is a really significant part of what we do. And our final tier of what we do is we like to be in the community as often as possible. Having ensembles at events, hosting events, just being a part of what is already going on here that makes Richmond great.
And you did that just recently with the Richmond Meltdown. There was a concert that weekend
We
as well,
did.
so a nice collaboration there with over 300 people. If
Over
I'm remembering.
300
That's
people
awesome.
at a concert
That's
on a
awesome.
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
so
that's wonderful.
Really quite spectacular.
And for people who don't, and I'll admit on camera, I'm not, symphonic music is not my first choice. I like listening to it during sometimes when it's, you know, sometimes it's very relaxing to just kind of tune out. But what would you say to a person like me who that's not something that I would generally think about going to? Because I know the concerts aren't very traditional sometimes, right?
Right. So, you know, what I would say is that I think people think that it's just a treat for the ears. It's just an auditory treat. When in actuality, the concerts themselves are a real visual treat. To see the musicians working and interpreting the music in their own way, to see that whole experience come together in one climactic moment on stage is quite spectacular. So we offer opportunities for people to enhance the experience. We have a pre-concert conversation where our conductor and guest artist will talk about the music for the night, give a little background history, just so that when you're listening, just makes it easier to interpret and to appreciate.
Yeah.
Dr. Bob Johnstone writes notes on every piece that we perform, the history, the reason behind it, what you should be listening for as you're going along. And so we work really hard, I think, to provide education not just for kids, but for adults as well.
Absolutely. It makes it so much more engaging.
It
I
does.
appreciate that about it. So, well, we are super excited about Symphony Night Fever. So fun. And I desperately want to open this invitation and give away some
might
fun
give a-
secrets,
Oh,
but
I
I'm
don't know
not
if
going
you
to.
can. Okay.
I'm not going to. So thank you for putting on both really entertaining events all throughout the year, but also thank you to Ginger Gray for her artistic expression throughout all of these nonprofits events, but also thank you for what you're doing for the community. You're doing a wonderful job, and we appreciate all of the symphony artists.
Well, thank you so much.
Many people in the community know a lot about Richmond Community Orchestra, but for the people who don't, first of all, it is different than Richmond Symphony Orchestra. It's a different thing, and there are a couple differences, but one of the main ones is that the Richmond Community Orchestra is made up of members of our community, mostly, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I played violin when I was in 6th grade. I was terrible, but these aren't the type of people you're looking for. So what kind of a citizen are you looking for to join this orchestra?
Anyone who is interested in practicing and dusting off that instrument, getting it out of the closet.
Okay.
We have members that are playing. The oldest is 90 this year.
Wow.
The youngest is 13.
No way, that's great.
Yeah,
What
so
a
we
cool
have a
span.
wide range. We have doctors and lawyers. We have students. We have retired people. We have a number of people who were professional musicians in their younger days.
Oh, okay.
And they just have decided to continue on.
That's
We
neat.
have people from Hagerstown and various communities throughout Wayne County. Plus, we have people that come from Ohio. We have some people that come from Oxford, from Dayton area. So we get people from a wide area that come in.
Is it unique for a community of our size to have both a community orchestra and a symphony orchestra?
Well, I think so, and I think that's one of the great things about the city of Richmond is that, first of all, it has the oldest continuous high school orchestra in the country.
Of which I was a part of, but again.
Well, I don't think you started in 1896 when it started.
I did not, but it was neat to have that, claim to fame that
Yes.
it was the oldest.
And so you have the high school orchestra, you have musicians from Earlham College, or they have a fine orchestra. You have members of the community that play in civic theater for their pit orchestra for musicals. So there's a lot of symphonic music that happens in this town, and it's really an exciting thing to happen. Yeah.
Now, if somebody were wanting to join,
Yeah.
how do they audition? But then also, I think it's kind of hard for some people to remember that this is not an orchestra that practices every night from 4 to 6, and you have this huge time commitment, right? You can be flexible about the time commitment as well.
Well,
Is that
yes.
correct?
The audition is if I shake their hand and they have a pulse, they're in.
And they're in. That's great. See, anyone can be a part of
Yes.
The orchestra.
And a lot of times people come in and then they will sit in a rehearsal and they will, normally they say, oh, this is neat, I want to come back.
Okay.
And they are the best judge of what they're capable of doing.
So there's a little bit of self-selection going
Yes,
on there. Okay.
yes. Especially like in the violin section, are you a first or a second? We even use some as third violins, that they play some of the viola parts.
Okay.
So, it doesn't take all that expertise.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes it just takes a little bit to get back into it.
Right.
The rehearsals are just once a week,
Okay.
Monday evening, 6:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
And we have a lot of fun. We play through things and then we pick at them a little bit, but we don't get too picky about stuff. A lot of people look forward to Mondays because
So
of rehearsal.
And it's not an overwhelming time commitment. So
No,
it's not something
no.
even busy people can figure out how to fit that in.
And about 4 concerts a year, maybe
great.
5, maybe some special events in the community that we'll be involved with and that kind of thing.
I love that you're involved in other things in the community, and it's not just we're
Yeah.
set in our ways.
Yeah.
But when I was at Cope Center, I remember you came out and played at the gala. And so if you're a community organization, you want to collaborate with Richmond Community Orchestra,
absolutely. Yes.
certainly reach out to Jay. It's a great
Yes,
asset for our
if you have a
community.
big event that you would like us to be part of, and it may not be the whole orchestra, it may be a string quartet or a smaller group that we can get together. And,
Such a neat idea.
and yeah.
It's such a great way to add ambiance to all these,
Oh, yeah.
these
Oh,
and
yeah.
highlight how good you all are too. So you have another concert coming up in May then too, on May 6th, is that correct?
Yes, May
Okay.
6th, the first Sunday in May.
Okay.
That concert, we'll have a soloist, which is Lauren Gruber, who's the high school, the Richmond Community Schools string teacher.
Okay.
She's an excellent cellist. She'll be playing the first movement from the Elgar cello concerto.
Okay.
And she's a great asset for the city of Richmond. I mean, she is a very energetic teacher and is really a good fit for the schools.
That's great.
That'd be one thing. Then
We'll have some smaller guest appearances.
we'll have some
correct?
smaller guests, and those
Shorter,
will be,
probably.
well, some of them are shorter, but that's part of our Strings Initiative program.
Okay.
And that is to introduce string instruction to a wide range of students in the community.
And that's to a lot of the schools who wouldn't normally have access to that through the school, right?
Yes.
So Richmond Friends School and
Richmond Friends School, and right now we're doing lessons with 4 groups, and that would be Richmond Friends School, Girls Inc., Amigos, and the Hagerstown Arts Place.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And the Hagerstown is a larger range of student ages. There's some adults in that, but the others are generally about 4th, 5th, 6th grade.
Okay. You all do so much that I think a lot of people don't know that you're doing. I mean,
Well,
a lot like
yeah.
the symphony orchestra, that there's so much kind of behind the scenes work with students in the area, which
Yeah.
is so neat. I love that.
And currently there are about 50 students involved.
Wow.
And so we will have this concert on May 6th on a Sunday afternoon. This time we are moving it to Civic Hall.
Okay.
And one of the reasons is because we will have these 50 extra young violinists with us.
Kind of need a bigger space.
We
Is
need a
it-
bigger
yeah.
space for them to join us, and they'll perform with
Great.
us at least with one number.
Great.
And
And
so-
are these concerts something you have to pay for, or are they
Oh,
free?
no, they're free.
Okay.
They're free.
Great. So what a good afternoon, first of
Yeah.
all, to spend, but a great opportunity, especially that second concert, for your children, grandchildren, some young
Yeah.
person that's special in your life, to take them and show them their potential
Yeah.
if they haven't
Yeah.
gotten introduced
This is
into the
something that
string
you
world.
may want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not only those groups I mentioned that we are doing ongoing lessons, but
Mm-hmm.
in the summer we do programs for like Boys and Girls Clubs and the Townsend Center. We've done that in the past. And then the Preble County Library System has reached out to us and said, we would like to get involved with this.
Oh, great.
So probably sometime in the next year, we will start doing a program there.
awesome.
They've offered us funding
Mm-hmm.
for the rental of the instruments and to help offset the cost of the instruction.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And you have something coming up in June in Joe Elstro Plaza, possibly?
Yeah, Elstro Plaza,
Okay.
I think that's the 16th of June.
Okay.
We did a concert there last summer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great space. It's a great community spot.
Mm-hmm.
There's some food trucks that come and set up, and we just do a kind of an informal concert, and you
Yeah.
just sit on the lawn, and
So neat.
you know, we had probably 400 just kind of appear there
Oh my gosh.
last year.
I said Joe Elstro. I totally meant Jack Elstro. But
Yeah.
what a neat space for that.
Oh,
It
yes.
makes it feel very urban, but also still very intimate.
Yes.
And they've really planned that space well for that type
Mm-hmm.
of event. So, anytime you bring a food truck, everybody comes, right?
yeah.
Food truck and music, and I'm there. So
And
that's
parking's
really neat.
easy and all
Parking's
that.
easy, yeah.
And
Great.
It's a very nice event. you know.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to learn more about either the orchestra or more about your events, tell us the best way to contact you.
Well, we have a website,
Mm-hmm.
rcoindiana.org,
Okay.
and you can get on there and you can look at what we've done in the past, what the upcoming schedule is. If you're interested in joining us as a musician, there's a new members section, and that
Oh, good.
you can put some. I play saxophone,
Yeah.
and I haven't played in 4 years. Wins rehearsals, and you can email us through that site, and then we'll get back with you and say, oh, yeah.
Cool.
Come on.
Looking for you. Yeah. And you have over 50 people right now.
Yes,
in the orchestra.
we
That's
actually
pretty
had a
sizable
problem
orchestra.
at the last rehearsal that we ran out of chairs
That's
on
a great
stage,
problem to
you
have.
know.
I love that you're having that problem.
Yeah.
That's
The
awesome.
only thing we're kind of missing right now is bassoons.
All right, bassoon players out
Bassoon
there.
players.
Any bassoon player.
And we
they
even
need
own
you.
one. We
Yeah.
bought one
Okay.
so that if you say, well, I played in high school, but it's been a
Don't
while and
have
I
it
don't
in-
have
yeah.
one, we have one you can
Okay.
borrow and get back up to speed.
What a great
and all
deal.
that.
So, yeah, so dust off your sheet music if
Yeah,
you're a bassoon
yeah,
player and
yeah.
come on out. Well, thank you for being here, Jay. We appreciate it and appreciate certainly all that you're doing for the community. You all are just rocking it. You're doing a great job.
All right.
So
Well, thank you.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We are now, for our final segment, joined by Ryan Shaw of Stage 1 through Richmond Civic Theater. Welcome to the program, Ryan.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And you have brought two wonderful people with you. Can you help us understand who these guys are?
Gladly. So directly here to my right in the plaid is Brady Day. He is a current Stage 1 student. He's in his last semester
Okay.
with us. And then one seat over is Dylan Dobby, who graduated last year and who was an intern for me and has been kind of staying on and helping with productions this season. So.
Great. Okay. And I think I'm remembering that your entire family is a part of Stage 1 and
Yeah.
of Richmond Civic Theater, right? Okay. A lot of people know your parents, actually, so that's really exciting to have both of you here. Thank you for both. And I've seen both of you in productions, and you do a wonderful job, so thanks for contributing to it. So tell us about the upcoming production, which is James and the Giant Peach, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I can say I am, aside from doing my job by day, which is the managing director, I'm also directing the production of James. And Dylan is my student AD, and Brady is playing the part of the grasshopper. So
Okay.
they're both kind of involved in different formats.
Okay.
So
So you've got nothing going on. You're just bored out of your
I
mind,
am.
aren't
I'm
you?
really bored.
It's
I
just
mean, I would
nothing
die for
to do
something
these
to
days.
because I'm only there, about
All the time.
12
right?
hours
Yeah.
a day. pretty
And you
much.
just came off of Bridge to Terabithia, which my daughter got to take a part of. It was
Yes,
super fun.
yes.
So thank you for your work on that. And so
Yeah.
on a show that you're not the managing director, or I'm sorry, you're always the managing director,
Right.
but for a show that you're not directing, what part do you play?
It kind of depends on what's needed. Sometimes I'm just there to be an extra set of eyes to make sure things are going along smoothly. I always take care of things like getting lunch for the kids during our school day productions, making sure the buses come and go with the students that are coming to the shows. But then sometimes, like with Bridge, I ended up kind of guiding a new young girl on stage managing.
Okay.
Which is basically, if you don't know what stage managing is, it is probably the most important part of a production when it's in process, because they make sure that everyone's on stage, the lights and the sound effects and everything happen when they're supposed to happen.
Okay.
So for that show, I was mentoring her.
Okay, great. Now, James and the Giant Peach is super popular among children, so I'm assuming you had a huge audition pool. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Brady,
Was
how'd that
it-
go?
Oh, it was really intense because
Oh,
yeah, you had
doesn't
the
sound good. Yeah.
It was really intense. We had really high competition with the amount of kids, and was it 114 or?
We had 115 that
115.
auditioned.
Oh my
so
gosh.
that
Yeah.
was really large.
Which is exciting that there are so many young people that are excited about theater in this town, right? So,
Yes.
and I'm sure that's just a small portion of the kids who probably were thinking about it, right?
Yeah, well, several kids will have that had just come off a Bridge to Terabithia, for example. For those who've never taken part of a production of the theater before, it's a very time-consuming extracurricular activity, almost more so than what you would even think with like sports.
Right.
You're there almost 3 solid months, almost every night rehearsing. So a lot of those kids that were in Bridge, there's about 40, I think, 40 to 50, didn't audition for James just because of the overlap. There's a day in between that show closing
show.
and the next show auditioning.
So that's a lot of kids being probably exhausted, but then
Exactly.
that means that there are at least 150 kids then that are just kind of primed and ready for production.
Pretty much at all times. There's
Okay.
always quite a large number that rotate through depending on
Yeah.
what they have going on the rest of their year.
Right. So Dylan, what part will you be playing when you're involved in James and the Giant Peach? You're not in the production as an actor, correct?
No. I'm
Okay.
not.
So how will you help?
That's a great question.
What will Ryan make you do for the production?
I guess I'm pretty much the hands at bay, wherever I need to be during
Okay.
the show. I'll probably helping the kids downstairs and
Okay.
helping backstage a little bit, and hopefully being able to watch the production from out in the audience at one point. So.
Okay, great. So Ryan, what is your goal for productions like these when you have students who are rising up to high school and maybe even starting college age? What's your goal for these students?
So that's something that's been a real passion project of mine since I took this job 3 years ago, was to kind of bridge the gap of high school and college. And these two are prime examples of kind of where that work and passion has taken me so far. Dylan being a student AD, he graduated from the program, and now he still has a passion, has a drive, and he's not done anything in a directorial standpoint because of the age. But now, since he's graduated, I'm taking him under my wing, showing him how I do blocking, scheduling, trying to prep him to be the next generation so I can actually have some time off and let them direct. And then Brady here is following his passion on to college to perform, correct?
Yes, perform.
Is it that, I know you're at that point of college where you're still getting everything kind
Yeah.
of situated,
But
but
preferably perform. Yeah.
yes.
That's
And
awesome.
we've had several students too that have come through our program that are
Yeah.
off at Ball State, New York University, that are pursuing either technical theater or performance theater.
Okay, that's awesome. So you all are you're involved as an actor in the upcoming production of James and the Giant Peach, and hopefully continuing your careers after that then too. There's also then some main stage productions going on at the same time, which I don't know how you all keep your heads straight. But are you all involved in both main stage and stage one, or where's the separation there?
It really depends on the season. Some seasons are busier than others. The summer is normally when I put in my time at main stage every now and then, either as an ensemble role or a cameo. Just
Okay.
helping where I can.
Okay. And if a student is interested, and now James has already been cast,
Yes.
and auditions are done, and the production will be happening.
Yes.
What are the dates for that? It's in April, but
The
dates.
14th and 15th are the dates for James.
Okay, but if people are interested in future productions and becoming an audition, quickly tell us what they would do if they wanted to go to an audition.
Best thing to do is to follow our website, gorct.org, or follow us on Facebook, Stage 1 or Main Stage.
Okay.
We are in the same building, but the Stage 1 is for 18 and younger. Main Stage is an all ages
Okay.
company, I guess I would say company. So following our website and following our Facebook is the best place to get updated information about upcoming auditions
Okay.
and workshops, and we even have a summer camp program that starts in June.
Great. Okay, so we know where to find you. Thank you for all you do in the community. The productions are so much fun, and certainly as a new family to those productions, it's been fun to be involved as well. So thank you for being here.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it so much. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Access to the Arts.